Hello and welcome into this week's edition of Your Next Favorite Driver right here on Racing News Now. As always, I'm your host, Garth Allen. Thank you once again for joining me today. If this is your first time catching a Racing News Now video, consider going down below to hit that subscribe button. We are currently in our hashtag Race to 1K. It's free to subscribe, and the quicker we get to 1,000 subscribers, the quicker YouTube will let us do mobile live streaming, which will vastly improve both the quality and quantity of coverage we're able to give you when we get back to the track at Daytona. So, on this week's episode of Your Next Favorite Driver, first-time winner in the ARCA Series West this season, driver for Bill McAnally Racing in their flagship number 16 Napa Toyota. It is Gio Scelzi. Picked up that first career win at All-American Speedway in Roseville, California a few weeks ago, and had a pretty solid season overall, top 5 in points. Started his career in the dirt world and moved over to the stock cars this season. Had a pretty successful first season, I would say. So we'll talk to him about how he got started in racing, his transition to stock cars, his overall goals in racing, and just get to know him a little bit more as a person. You know what to expect at this point from this show. So without further ado, let's get to that chat with Gio. And we're now joined by driver for Bill McAnally Racing in the ARCA Series West on Your Next Favorite Driver today, Gio Scelzi. Gio, how are you doing today?
Good, how are you?
Good. So the point of this show, Gio, is to let fans get to know you on a little bit more of a personal level than what they get to see maybe out on the track. So let's start right into that from the beginning. What got you started in racing, Gio?
Yeah, my dad obviously drag raced for a long time, and just kind of came from a racing family that really loved racing, and being friends with kind of people from oval track racing and dirt racing kind of just got me started.
So, okay, so building off of that then, with your dad, Gary, being so entrenched in the drag racing world, what made the decision for you to first go dirt racing and now move more into the stock cars then?
Yeah, I think what's so hard about drag racing is you really can't drag race anything under 16 years old. And when me and my brother were 5 and 6, 4, 5, and 6 years old, we wanted to race something, and my dad wanted to put us in something. So go karts and kind of outlaw karts and junior sprints and micros were an option, and there was really no option to go drag racing, like I said, when you're that young. So I think we kind of chose that path, which was oval track racing and dirt racing, and just sort of pursued it.
So, growing up then, you've got a lot of different racing backgrounds to choose from here. Drag racing, dirt, stock cars. Who was your favorite driver growing up?
Oh, that's tough. I got to say probably Danny Lasowski or Donnie Schatz, one or the other. Danny's a really close friend of mine, someone that's mentored me for a long time, and just been a huge fan of Donnie my whole life. So both of those guys in the sprint car world are definitely my favorites.
Okay, solid picks there. Favorite track you've been on? You got a lot to choose from at this point, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's tough. Man, probably Knoxville. Knoxville is the greatest track in the world, I think. Just something about the atmosphere and the surface rolling in there, just it's like no other for me.
Okay. What is the most memorable moment in your career thus far? I'm sure you've had a lot of moments that have led you up to this point. What's the most memorable one?
Winning at Knoxville, the All-Star race last year was pretty special. Just making the right-hand turn after the scales there is something that I've seen so many times and had run on the podium there a couple times and had never been able to break through to a win, and finally winning there was special. And winning at Williams Grove was special too, being my first outlaw win, and just winning at places that have so much history like that, and so many talented people have won there and kind of made their mark there. It was very special.
Okay. So, with the transition from all of that dirt racing now into the stock cars this year, how much of a learning curve was there with learning the stock car this year?
Yeah, it's been tough. Obviously, I'm used to racing a 70 or 80 race schedule a year, and they only have 15 races a year. So, a normal year they have a lot of testing and a lot of practice, and this year has obviously been cut short. So it's made it a lot more tough for me. And I think just the length of the races are so much longer. Obviously, you're racing for 100, 150 laps instead of 20 or 30 laps. So, I think that just the overall aspect of it, like I said, saving your equipment and not being able to push as hard as you can the whole time, and making sure you kind of save something for the end, and make sure you have a car in one piece to race at the end.
So let's talk about how you got into stock cars this year. Everybody's got a story. So how did you come about Bill McAnally Racing and being a part of that team?
Yeah, so Andy Graves was at the Knoxville Nationals my first year in 2018, and I met him. And my dad had known him from a long time ago and just kind of reconnected. And he said, hey, if you ever have a desire to go pavement racing, here's my number. Just kind of let me know. We'll see if we can do something for you. And, this last year just kind of kept in touch with him more and got in touch with Jack Irving from the TRD program. And, just one thing led to another, and this was the open spot for me. So, yeah, they played a big role, both of them, in me getting into stock car racing. And it was kind of, an opportunity where, hey, you got a shot to do this, and you're probably never going to get another shot again, so you might as well pursue it, when you get the opportunity. So it's been good so far. Yeah, we haven't won a race, obviously, but I think we've learned more and more every single race, and I've grown closer to my crew chief and the whole team. So it's been good overall.
Is stock car racing something you plan on pursuing full-time the rest of your career, or do you plan on getting back more full-time into the dirt racing at some point?
I don't know. This year was obviously tough on everybody, really, with schedules changing and having so much time off and not being a normal year in general. I think it's made it tough for sponsors and everybody to kind of know what direction they're going for next year. So, and not having PRI, which PRI was always the time everyone kind of sorted all their stuff out. So,
right.
I really don't know what I'm going to do next year. I haven't decided yet. I think the last couple races here will probably, decide which direction I'm going to go. Obviously, have a good sprint car deal going and have a really solid stock car thing going too. So, I think just kind of what opens up and who moves around will dictate that.
Okay. So let's switch a little bit away from racing now. If you weren't racing, what is it that you would do? What do you think you have the skill set to do if for some reason racing weren't to pan out?
Oh man, that's tough. I would say some kind of fabricator or something. I love working with my hands. My dad owns a truck body business, so and I love working on race cars too. So some kind of machine shop, or I'd probably try and go to school for mechanical engineering or be a machinist or something like that.
Okay. So everybody seems to love this question when I ask them, and I usually say specifically in NASCAR history, but since you've got such a diverse background in racing, we'll just say motorsports history as a whole. If you could pick any one driver from motorsports history to 1v1, who would it be and why?
Oh, man. There's so many. Probably Dan Lasowski. He, in 2016, when I started racing sprint cars, that was his last year. So I raced locally in California and didn't kind of get on the national stage till about 2018. So he was done racing at that point. And one that I always looked up to and always cheered for racing. And it kind of sucks that he was, retired or stepped away as soon as I got into it. So probably him. I mean, he's taught me so much. I feel like I could know his moves before he's going to make them, and kind of would like to race against him.
Okay, that's a cool choice. All right, so what is one interesting thing that nobody knows about you, or maybe not a lot of people know about you?
Man, that's tough too. You got some good questions there. I love playing golf. Golf's, actually just got started. I didn't play golf for probably a year and kind of started picking it back up. The guys that own my sprint car team love playing golf, so I'm a big golfer.
Okay. All right, so we're going to end off here playing a little this or that. You ever played this or that before?
I haven't.
Okay, so basically I'll just throw a couple things out at you rapid fire here. You pick which one you like better. You can explain why you picked what you did, or you don't have to, whichever you prefer here. We're going to throw you a softball for the first one here. Cats or dogs?
Dogs, for sure.
Agreed. Dirt track or pavement?
Gotta say dirt.
Okay. I kind of figured that's where you were going to go with that. Instagram or Twitter?
Probably spend more time on Twitter.
Okay. Well, doesn't mean you like it better, though.
Yeah, you get better arguments on Twitter.
Yeah, that's true. Let's see. iOS or Android?
Apple.
Okay. Football or basketball?
Not a big sports guy, but football.
Okay. Passenger or driver?
Driver, for sure.
Okay. TV show or movie?
Man, that's tough. Probably TV show right now.
Okay. Summer or winter?
Winter.
Okay. Mountains or beach?
I'd say beach.
Okay. $1 million in your bank account or an IQ of over 145?
$1 million would buy a lot of race cars, so I'll go with $1 million.
I like that answer. Let's see. Aquarium or zoo?
Zoo.
Okay. Born in the future or the past?
Pass, definitely.
Okay.
Racing was awesome back in the day.
Yeah,
I'd love to be a
agreed.
part of that.
Ferrari or Lamborghini?
Lamborghini.
Okay. Let's see. Live forever and be poor or be a millionaire and live to 21?
Live to 21 for sure.
I like that one. Let's see. Work at SpaceX or Google?
Well, I just watched that documentary on Netflix. It's called Social Dilemma, where they show where they're like watching you in every aspect. I would say definitely SpaceX. I don't want to be part of Google. I don't want to know what they're watching.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. You're actually the first person besides, I think Jesse was the only other person so far that's picked SpaceX. Everybody else has picked Google for that one. So, you got something in common there with Jesse. But I think that's going to be it. We know you got 3 ARCA West races left this season. I'm sure you got some dirt races left too. So where all can people find you for the rest of this year?
Yeah, so I'll be running Roseville this coming Friday. Kern is Sunday, and then Phoenix is November 7th. So there are some sprint car races that are kind of littered between there, but I'm not sure if we're going to make it to them or not. Our team's based in Des Moines, Iowa, and they're all in Pennsylvania. So it's a long way to go for those races. But yeah, just follow me on Twitter at Gio Scelzi. Keep up with most of my racing there.
Okay, well that was going to be the next question. Where can people find you on social media? So you got that one covered already. But I think that's going to be it. So Gio, good luck for the rest of the season, and thanks for joining us today.
For sure. Thanks for having me.
And we want to thank Gio once again for chatting with us today. It was great getting to know him on a little bit more of a personal level and get to know his background and what he ultimately wants to do with his racing career. Hopefully, this episode made you decide that Gio could be your next favorite driver. Just because the racing season is over does not mean your next favorite driver is over. We will continue this show into the off season as long as I have drivers to talk to. So I don't know exactly how many more episodes we're doing, but we do have at least a couple more coming up for you here into the off season. I'd like to get this going into at least January, so introduce you to a few more drivers throughout the offseason, get you ready for that 2021 season. We'll see how that goes. So, got a couple of new live stream ideas coming up for you here in the offseason. Not sure exactly when those will happen, but keep an eye out for those. We're going to have some fun with that. As well as the NASCAR Heat 5 career mode continues into the offseason as well. That'll be Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern. We had such a heartbreak on there last night. Almost. So close. I'm still a little bitter about that one. I usually can brush things off from those live streams, and I forget about it like 10 minutes later, but that one still stings a little. So we have fun on those nonetheless. So come hang out with us 9 p.m. Eastern Wednesday nights for NASCAR Heat 5, and then, like I said, we'll have some other live streams thrown in there over the off season as well, and then maybe some random videos here and there talking about different things ARCA and NASCAR related. As always, we want to thank our Patreon supporter, Regional Manager William Holmes. Thank you as always for your support. It is greatly appreciated. If you would like to be a patron of RNN, the link is down below in the description, patreon.com/racingnewsnow. Not required by any means, but it is definitely appreciated when you want to support RNN in that way. But I think that's going to do it for this week's edition of Your Next Favorite Driver. Thank you again to Gio. Thank you for hanging out with us and getting to know Gio today. We'll be back, like I said, next week with this show. So as always, I'm Garth Allen for Racing News Now.